So, we figured out the invasive species issue. Well, not we. Florida did. We also found a brand new reptile, or I guess it hasn't been around for a while.
New reptile just dropped.
Yep. But before we get started, hit like, hit subscribe, and share with your reptile-loving friends. This is the Reptiles with podcast.
There's
All
multiple
right.
reptiles, bitch.
What do you mean multiple
There's not
reptiles?
just one.
Yeah, it's new.
There's more stuff that just came out?
Yep.
Okay, before we get to that, let's talk about...
Which developer made it?
Oh. Yeah.
That's up.
Yeah, so...
I thought it was Sony, but...
Okay, so Florida decided to combat the Burmese python issue.
Ooh,
How did they do this?
more berms.
No, they released indigos. Did you guys read the article? Did you
Yeah.
guys watch
Yeah.
the news
Yeah.
thing? What's going on with that?
Yeah.
I was a little confused as to what species they were supposed to do.
What do you
'Cause
mean?
They said they released them in the Panhandle.
Okay. Wait, they released the indigos in the Panhandle?
Mhm.
Are there a lot of berms in the Panhandle?
No.
No. That's why I was confused as to the title of the article. It was like, snakes released to combat invasive species, but it talked about them releasing the indigos in the Panhandle.
It's all bullshit.
So I was like,
There's
I-
already-
Really?
It's already indigos in the Everglades. Yes, it's bullshit.
Wow. So what was the whole hype about?
No, honestly, I was more so just, I was just happy that OCIC got on the news. 'Cause they're
Okay.
doing cool stuff.
Yeah.
But obviously, the title was misleading.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to, I watched the video and I was like, but what's
the Everglades
invasive
does
up
have
there?
indigos, but the indigos ain't gonna do shit.
For a certain
Got
size,
you.
You can't really do much against those berms.
And snakes don't eat that often. The fuck are you really gonna do?
So snake on snake violence isn't the option.
It
what
is
you're
not
saying.
the solution, unfortunately. We need to arm the snakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right. I guess that's that for that. What happened?
nothing.
All right. But because of this whole thing going around and stuff like that, I figured maybe a good topic would be like showcasing some other examples of governments or people, organizations releasing other animals to combat something going on within wildlife.
Can I show you guys something real quick?
Yeah, of course. Where is that? Is that...
Down south.
Oh, okay, yeah. That is a
friend,
tegu.
My friend just went like to drop something off and found a tegu.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Crossing the road.
Yep.
He said he saw a bunch.
Well, how south is it?
South.
Yeah.
Like real south.
Yeah, Homestead.
Lower, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you'll
Interesting.
yeah, they'll definitely be there. But yeah, so Eric, you want to take it away? Give
Sure.
off some examples.
So
I got better examples. Go ahead.
I don't give a fuck about your examples. I got mine.
Dude,
And I
I'll
didn't-
kiss you.
Try me. I'm right here. I got good examples, and I didn't use ChatGPT for it.
Oh!
I sat on the computer and I fucking researched.
I take offense to that because I did use ChatGPT.
Wow.
I made it a point to not use ChatGPT for this stuff.
Good for you, buddy.
I've done research way before this, so I know.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah, well, I did research 2 hours before. So
Good for you.
anyway,
That means you don't know nothing.
so
I'm better than you.
in the spirit of invasives and stuff, a lot of the reason some invasives are introduced is because they're supposed to combat a problem.
Yep.
Usually that never works. That's why it doesn't really happen anymore. That stuff's only happened back in the 1800s and stuff when people didn't really realize that the environment was a thing. So you got cane toads, you got mongooses or mongoose, whatever.
Mongai.
You know, mongai. Those are all examples of it going bad. I don't know if we'll talk about it later about things going wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
But I found one example of a non-native animal being released into a situation that it's actually worked out. So, in the Southwest, in like the Grand Canyon area, there is a plant called a tamarisk. It's just a big plant that kind of outcompeted everything else that's around there. It lives next to waterways, and it's a lot more salt tolerant because that area has a lot of salt in their water. It's a lot more salt tolerant than the native plants. So not only are they already outcompeting because they're more of an aggressive grower, but they're also fucking up the water column completely.
Okay.
So of course that's causing issues. Everything's drier now. Animals left, and they released something called the tamarisk beetle, which the name doesn't mean anything. It just means that it's a beetle that specializes in eating the tamarisk plant. So they released those beetles in 2001, and there's been a lot of like straight up visual improvement for over the past few years.
Yeah.
Not few, 20 plus years of these beetles doing their work. And what I think is really interesting is because it is that those beetles know how to outsmart the plant.
What do you mean they know how to
So-
outsmart the plant?
The tamarisk plant has like an alarm system basically within itself that if they detect the larva of the beetle, it'll start like cutting off pieces of itself. It'll start yellowing out and dropping whatever that larva's on. But that takes time. And over time, those beetles kind of adapted to kind of pupate faster than the plant is able to kind of do its thing. So they're really hitting that plant to the point where, of course, it dies, but it doesn't die completely. It actually has to go through a couple waves, a couple seasons of the beetles going after it and after it and after it for that plant to actually die. And like I said, they're specialists, so they're not going after the native stuff. And what the goal there was, for what I didn't know, because I read at the end of it all, they weren't even trying to get rid of the tamarisk plant. They just wanted to get it out of the way, which I thought was interesting because whenever we're talking about invasives, because usually it's with animals, and I would assume eradicating a species of animal is a lot easier than eradicating a plant. Just because of how much reach a plant could have. But they're not trying to get rid of them. They're just trying to pocket them. They're trying to put them in their own little zones, and that's exactly what happened.
Got you.
Because in the areas that over time, the beetles pretty much kind of like segmented the plants into specific areas. So they're kind of having their own little like localized war in their own little spots while everything else has been growing, being able to grow back. So that was the only example of something being released that actually helped.
Gotcha.
That I could find.
Yeah. You guys want to go band for band? You want to say one of yours?
I got 2 more, so.
Yeah, go. Say one of
Bingo.
yours. Oh.
Bingo.
No, then go.
Oh.
Yeah,
I was
go.
like,
go to the next one.
go?
That's not what I said.
What did you say?
Dingo.
Oh, dingo. I heard
Oh.
then go. Okay, so what's the dingo one?
So dingoes are a lot of times, depending what types of farmer. So if you're like, if you're farming kangaroos and shit, you fucking hate them. But if you're farming plants, you hate the kangaroos. So
Okay.
people will release dingoes into those areas, and they're technically not a native species, nor is it an endangered species. It's a very weird case.
How so?
Of a dog.
Can you explain a little more?
It's unknown exactly how they evolved to
Dingoes?
be that way. Yeah, like there's a whole bunch of theories on it. So some people think like they were pets. Some people think like they were wild dogs that bred with like captive dogs, because they're not related even to some other dogs that are around them. So technically not the same, but technically the same.
They made their way down from Southeast Asia with the Aboriginals. From what?
Got
stuff.
you.
Maybe not necessarily domesticated, but they had followed them.
Yeah, they followed
Just
each
because of
other's-
the nature of how
so
dogs work.
probably domesticated. And then the mongoose is a cool one too, that doesn't work whatsoever.
How was the mongoose one?
So the
Terrible
mongoose.
idea.
So you bring in. So they brought in the cane toads. Then you got the black rat. Then you got like all these invasives fucking shit up, especially on the islands in the Caribbean. And they're like, oh, we need a small apex predator to take all this shit out. So they got the small Indian mongoose, and they started releasing it in the islands to eat the cane toads and eat the black rat. And then they were like, we're gonna fuck everything up.
Yeah.
So they started eating pretty much fucking everything.
Yeah.
So not just the invasive species that they're supposed to target, but then the native animals as well.
I thought that was one of the things that they also did in Australia, right? With the cane toads.
With cane toads.
Yeah.
So
With
how,
cane
how-
toads, it's the same scenario.
so what did they do
yeah.
with the what did they want to beat within the cane?
So,
using the cane toads?
cane toads are supposed to eat cane beetles, but they're not specialists for that.
Yeah, they
I don't
eat
know
everything.
who.
And then they have the poison,
Yeah.
the toxins.
Yeah.
They're just.
So then
I don't know.
a bunch of cane toads all over Australia, and then to combat that, they did what?
There's not a whole lot
No?
you can do. The
Really?
only things that have really been done is just.
Wasn't there like an animal?
Yeah,
that
I was
they-
gonna say
yeah.
that the only thing that really has been done is that some animals have been able to kind of figure it out, like with
Like
magpies.
natives?
Yeah, magpies, and even here in the States with crows, they know either to wait for roadkill, or if they can take it down, they'll flip it and eat the insides from there, leaving the
Really?
the poisoning glands.
There's not an animal that they've tried to release that's not that doesn't get affected
No,
by their no.
no, I don't think they'd ever even think about doing that in Australia. It's so fragile over there.
Yeah.
So I mean, here in the States, there's still nothing. Although there are, we do have the possum, which is an interesting scenario because We have the one species here in North America, but South America has like at least 10. They have a lot, and they're all in the same
Four-eyed.
family.
Four-eyed.
That one's cool.
I love
My
those.
favorite's the water possum. It looks like a little
Those are
rat
cool.
with huge web feet. So cool. Anyway, possums, because they're all in the same family, the North American ones.
Yeah.
I would have to assume that the Virginia possum would carry the traits and all that to be able to process the toxin, because they're from South
They
America.
literally carry fucking the gene to fucking fuck everything up. Venomous snakes, immune.
Yeah. Rabies,
Not.
very unlikely.
Yeah, it's like they just don't give a fuck. Possum is an animal that doesn't give a fuck.
You know why?
Why?
It's because they're land vultures. That's their whole thing.
Interesting. Why?
They're
why do you
not
say that?
scavengers,
Why
but
do
they
you say that
are
they're land vultures?
because they do exactly what a vulture would do, just on the floor. Granted,
Gotcha.
a vulture also has to eat on the floor, but you know,
Yeah, that was stupid.
everybody understand. Listen, when I say it at work, everybody gets it, so it doesn't matter.
Do they get
Yeah.
it, or do they just do one of these?
No, they get it. They get it. They get it. They get it.
All right, go for your next one.
All right. So this one's not really an example of of a positive impact. It's more so of an example of something that not many people know.
Okay.
With bees.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Honeybees.
honeybees. They're not from
Honeybees.
here,
Yep.
which is expected, but like
European.
they're from Europe, Asia, that kind of Mediterranean area, because they're from Africa too. I saw. They're not supposed to be here. And when people say save the bees, they're not talking about the honeybee. They're talking about native bees, because native bees are getting fucked up by the honeybee.
I did not know this.
Yeah,
real?
I
No,
didn't.
I did not.
Yeah.
I didn't know this until
This
today.
is a revelation for me.
Really, you didn't know this?
No.
No,
Oh,
no, no.
yeah, this is
What's
facts.
what's
The
the
thing
visual
is-
differences between the two?
I mean,
No, there's not two.
little things here
There's
and
no
there,
two.
but like,
What do you
native-
mean there's no
okay,
two?
This Florida alone has like, I forgot the number already, but they have a lot.
Yeah,
That's the thing
there's
that always fucks me
there's
over.
A bunch
There's
of
a
different
bunch of-
bees.
oh,
yeah.
I
There's a
didn't know.
lot of species
Yeah.
of bees, so it's
Uh-huh.
like it's a very
So
general.
how do you? Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, how do you combat, or how do you save the right bees?
see? That's the thing.
The
Yeah.
issue is that honeybees are used to make money making honey.
Mm-hmm.
So people keep honeybees and
And
don't-
they're running rampant.
exactly,
Kind of thing.
but nobody wants to
Ah.
stop it because you're making money off of it and people benefit
People don't
from
know
the honey.
either, so people don't.
Look, I'll show you these are some of the Florida bees.
Yeah.
That's one.
Oh
Two.
wow, that's
Yep.
green.
Yeah.
We have a couple cool ones
Yeah.
at my work.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the main problem with those, because at least when it comes to native plants,
Yeah.
just native plants, I think what I was reading about was in Florida. I don't remember, but our native bees are able to pollinate specific flowers because of their they exhibit I wrote it down. I don't know why I'm trying to remember. Yeah. The honeybees aren't as efficient at pollinating the native plants as our native bees, because they don't exhibit the specific behavior they need
Yep.
to pollinate the specific flowers and stuff.
Yeah.
I-
So they go after everything. So like
Yeah.
Brazilian pepper, for example, which is an invasive
Yeah,
species.
yeah.
Yeah, and that ends up doing basically is you're just getting a very poor blanket pollination,
Yeah.
whereas a lot of specific, or in like I guess niche plants aren't getting hit at all sometimes, and those guys die off. And then of course the invasive stuff and everything else that doesn't need specific behavior for pollination, that all gets left behind.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I think people would be surprised how many plants, especially here in Florida, but how many plants are invasive. So Eric came over to cut my grass the other day, and he's like, "Yo, what are those 2 trees that you put in the redfoot enclosure?" I was like, "Those things just grew." I Google search them
They
by
look kinda
photo.
cool.
It's horseweed, and it's invasive.
Where's it from?
I don't know.
Dude,
I just read that it was
Are you really
invasive.
surprised? Most of the grass out here is invasive.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
All the grass.
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
grass you put in your yard, it's all invasive.
Most of it is, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not. It's actually not good. for
Fuck
your
St.
soil.
Augustine grass. All my homies hate that shit. that grass.
You got your next one? You got another one out of an example you can think of?
I'm trying to think of a good.
I have an interesting one that I think that you could chime into too.
All right, go for it.
So, Hawaii.
Okay, what's
Oh
the Hawaii?
God.
So Hawaii is not an example of invasives making because of the environmental landscape of Hawaii.
Yeah,
It
Hawaii.
seems like
Hawaii.
I don't know.
Kawaii. All right, go. Continue.
Because of the environmental landscape right now of Hawaii, it seems like it's a positive thing, and I guess on paper, technically, it could be a positive because at this point, no, who else is going to do the job?
Uh-huh.
But basically, if you guys didn't know, there used to be a shit ton of birds in Hawaii. They're all fucking dead now, most of them.
No.
Yeah.
Not most of them, but a large portion.
A good portion. So there's only four fruit eating birds left in the whole fucking archipelago.
Damn. Okay.
Every fucking island had a bunch of them, and now there's only 4. And
Cats.
and
It was
rats
cats?
and people, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mostly cats.
They watched that fucking musical, and it was such a shit show. They all fucking killed themselves. It was really fucking bad.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah. So Oahu, I forget which island it is. I don't think it's the biggest one or whatever. But they already lost all theirs completely.
Yeah.
And I didn't see what species specific were introduced and stuff, but over time, invasive birds kind of became a thing over there, and through time, because of how little the native birds were doing, just because there wasn't that many left, they started picking up on wherever they would leave off, which is interesting because it's like, oh, the non-native stuff is now benefiting the environment. In a way, you could say that it is, because there is no one doing that job, but at the same time, the few native birds that are left, they're still there trying to compete.
Yeah.
So it's like, on one hand, you could say that because it makes sense on paper, but at the same time, they're still out competing the native birds.
Yeah.
And on top of that, on islands where, so I forget the islands, but it doesn't really matter for the names. There's an island that lost their pollinators and their fruit-eating birds for plants that need those birds. So, for example, there's fruits and seeds and stuff that need larger beaks to be able to open and eat and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Those birds they're dead. They're gone. What's left are these little finches and stuff like that can't open those seeds and stuff. So those plants are getting excluded, similar to what we were talking about with the bees, because the invasive stuff is kind of just generally doing what they can.
Yeah.
To eat, basically, and that just was like, I can't crack open this seed. I'm going to go to the little seeds and eat those, and then of course that makes all these smaller seeding and smaller fruiting plants kind of go crazy. Yeah, it's really sad. I went down the Hawaii rabbit hole. I was like, damn. Yeah. Really fucked that shit up.
You got yours, Chucky Wucky? That's a no.
Let me see.
I think that's the end of yours. Can you pull mine up? It's in your messages.
Massages.
Did you guys find any that were like specifically reptile related?
No. I mean, nothing that we don't already know.
Yeah. I mean, but you can still talk about it.
Well, yeah. I mean, the cane toad stuff.
Yeah.
You could talk about iguanas. I don't want to talk about iguanas again. Same shit. Same shit. Amphibian, reptile,
One that I found was Guam. They're brown tree snakes.
Ugh.
So it says here that they released mongoose, or that it was for consideration to control the brown tree snakes population, which devastated birds. Ultimately, they did not release due to future ecological damage. Then there is
the poor birds, man. They're all getting fucked up.
Yeah, there was the obvious one, like the Galapagos, working with the Galapagos tortoises to help the ecosystem. And then it says something about New Zealand here.
Oh boy!
So New Zealand, it says they have the free sanctuaries to protect species like tuatara skinks and different geckos, and then.
Dude, can you believe we're getting sponsored by the biggest reptile company yet?
I can. We just gotta tell Yoshi, see what he thinks.
All right, Yoshi.
Oh my God, this is not what it looks like.
This video is sponsored by Morph Market, the world's largest marketplace for reptiles, amphibians, and even arachnids. Buy directly from verified sellers. Whether you're a first-time keeper or a hobbyist, Morph Market connects you with the best in the hobby.
I use it for shipping.
Always use Morph Market for your next reptile. Let's keep on going.
All right, we all know reptiles need bugs. And what better place to look for your bugs than online, not just any place, at dubia.com. Because on there, not only can you find dubia roaches, you can find hornworms, you can find mealworms, and Discord roaches for your Florida folks. And while you're at it, you can go and scrolling through on their website. They also sell really awesome front opening enclosures, super easy to build. So this is a nice example of one of their 4x2s, and I'm currently working on saving up to get some of their 4x4s, so these little carpet pythons can get nice and big and look awesome.
This one I wanted to ask you guys about, because you posted something recently about the labyrinth berm that this guy found, which, I mean, visually I think it's a fucking cool. I think the animal is super fucking cool. I really do like Burmese pythons, but the whole thing where they release males and they'll release females that instead of killing them, so that way they can find wherever these animals are nesting and stuff like that for data. So here, one of the things that it gave me was radio tag male pythons as Judas snakes. And then I was going to ask you guys, because it says here the result is highly effective and there's no ecological damage, but logistically it's complicated. I was going to ask you guys, how do you feel about that kind of thing, ethically and stuff?
There's no extra ecological damage, but it's still there because you're letting the snake out.
Yeah, I think, but it's just
It's
one
like a
snake.
necessary evil.
It's like one snake, bro. How many people drive past a berm and just take a picture and keep it moving? Same exact issue. They're already there 100. Out of 100,000, you're letting one go back in to get data out of it and catch more. One gives you all the more. So they do something similar with goats, which is kind of fucked up. They send one goat out, a male, and he finds all the other goats, and he has a tracker, and then they pull up in a helicopter and shoot them all down.
Oh, fuck.
But their goat. And then that goat runs out and finds another group. And then they pull up in a helicopter and kill all his homies. And then he just keeps doing that. So same thing with the berms. They let the berm out. He goes with his girls. And then scientists go in, catch the girls, let the boy go. And then he finds other females and then back in. It's pretty much what they're doing.
Wow.
Just smaller scale compared to the goat.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen a video of the goat stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dude.
I bet you have.
It's a machine gun. It's
Yeah.
goats are dropping and the goats are my homies again.
So sad.
Fuck the ops. It starts running.
Where are they doing that?
Huh?
Where are they doing
A
that?
lot of places.
Oh, jeez.
A lot of
These
places.
poor goats,
Goats are
yeah.
invasive in a lot of places.
I know.
They're invasive in Mona Island in Puerto Rico.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's
Las
legal to go and
cabras.
hunt them.
You know what I think the worst thing in South Florida is?
What?
The chickens. There's so many fucking chickens just roaming around the
It's your
neighborhoods.
fucking people.
It is my people. That
It's
is
your
factual.
fucking people.
Yeah.
Your people down there piss me off, bro.
They are pretty frustrating. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I get every time South Florida comes up, I'm like, God damn, bro. I fucking hate that.
What did the
place.
Cubans do now?
Yeah, dude, no, because who was it? Brian the other day at work is talking about Cubans in South Florida, and all of us are like, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Over here, we're just chilling. We hanging out, bro. We living life. Down there, it's literally Cuba. Havana, bro.
Yeah.
Down there.
Well, I think Havana's definitely worse.
No.
I think some stuff have happened over the last couple of years that, kind of made it get stuck in time. I don't know if you've heard of it before. No.
They just don't have social media.
Down
It's fine.
there, no. Down there is stuck in time, bro. They're all
Miami?
stuck in time. Miami's stuck in time.
You're crazy.
Mentally, they are. 100%. Mentally, they are. Those people are so far behind
In what?
I kind of see it, though.
in everything. Their ideas of everything. Their
Think
idea
think
of
about it.
fucking everything.
They're taking that ideology to the city.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
But what ideology?
the shit
Like
that they're-
anything. Santeria. When's the last time you saw Santeria in Central Florida, bro? It's not as prevalent as it is down there. Why? Cubans. What else? What else?
I
What
would
else?
say that there's more
They're-
Cubans banned for
they're-
banned than there is Hispanics here in Central Florida.
They're
By percent.
What you call it? Their views of the environment.
political views, too.
I need a timestamp. Timestamp.
Like their views on the environment, like non-existent.
Conception.
Education, non-existent.
The timestamp is probably going to be on the camera.
Non-existent.
Yeah.
Non-existent, bro. So when I go back there, it's like talking to a bunch of it's like a tribe.
Yeah.
It's like running into a tribe.
Oh, my God.
Interessante.
It's like you can't wear red today because el santo del carajo is gonna fuck you up. Like what the fuck? Shut up, lady.
All right. So before we continue, support the boys by becoming a member. You can also head on over to modernreptileshop.com for the merch. And of course the Reptiles with Coffee. We're going to move on to the next topic. Do you guys want to give any more examples of animals being released and shit like that?
Nope.
Not a fan of Cuban tree frogs. Continue.
Oh, yeah, definitely not.
Did you see the? I wish Tina was here so I could tell him shut the fuck up.
All right, go.
Iguanas in
You could literally
Jamaica.
call him.
Iguanas in Jamaica.
We
Did you
could
send something
we
about
could
that?
force him to be on the podcast.
There was a shipment that sent
Yes,
to
I
Jamaica.
remember the
and when
video.
They opened
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
there was like 10 green iguanas from Florida, and people are like, "You see, that's how the iguanas got here." And I'm like,
you bitches, this is funny because green iguanas have a big ass gap in the Caribbean. They're found in certain islands, and then genetic tests show that all the iguanas come from Colombia and El Salvador and Honduras. Makes no sense.
Interesting.
Whoa.
Crazy stuff, dude.
They killed them.
Iguanas. At this point, talking about green iguanas just stresses me the fuck out.
Fuck them.
Jesus Christ.
There's nothing we could do. They're here forever. All right, Cape Town, South Africa. Researchers who were dropped off by a helicopter in a largely inaccessible and remote canyon in South Africa say they have discovered a type of gecko that hadn't been seen for more than 30 years and was thought to be extinct. The Endangered Wildlife Trust said Wednesday that 2 of their researchers had found a species of the Blyde rondavel flat gecko, which was first identified in the same canyon in, I cannot pronounce this, Mamalanga.
Where the hell is it?
I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to be insensitive.
No. Where the fuck is
The
name?
MP one.
Ooh.
Let me see.
I can't pronounce that.
Umpalanga, bro.
Let me
It
see.
says
Umpalanga. Umpalanga. Umpalanga.
Umpalanga province in northeastern South Africa in 1991.
Do they have a picture of the gecko?
Yes, they do. So,
Spoilers?
mystery surrounded the little lizard over the next 3 decades. Was it extinct, or were there 2 male specimens originally found? Researchers Darren Peterson and John Davies returned to the same site last month, determined to find the Blyde rondavel flat gecko again and solve the conservation conundrum. Because the Blyde rondavel gecko hadn't been recorded in 10 years, it was considered a lost species. The International Union for Conservation of Nature, which is the authority on threatened species, listed it as data deficient, meaning not enough was known to say that it was extinct. Having a species that is data deficient annoys me, says Peterson. I've always loved the species and others wouldn't study because they're harder to find or they're obscure. The research trip was 2 years in the making after they registered at least 6 applicants for permits to go. 6 applications, sorry. They were dropped off on the top of one of the canyons in a rocky outcrop, which had sheer cliffs that went on for more than 100 meters. It was the exact same outcrop where the gecko was found in 1991. Peterson and Davies only had 3 days camping on the outcrop to find the geckos, which were about 8 to 9 centimeters long. Do we know what that is in inches?
Tiny, bro.
That's fucking insane. And when they did, they were elated. He said that they saw 20 to 30 specimens and captured and photographed 7. So they're definitely not extinct. 20 to 30 is a fucking lot. Giving the world a glimpse of the lost gecko for 3 decades, the Endangered Wildlife Trust said the data they collected, including tissue samples, should allow them to confirm it is a distinct species. The trust said the gecko was the 5th animal they had rediscovered in recent years. A mole that lives in sand dunes was found in 2021.
A mole?
Yeah, a
Like
mole.
a mammal?
No, yeah.
Oh, shit.
After having not been seen for more than 80 years, a butterfly, a frog, and a lizard were also found in the last 4 years after being lost to conservationists for decades. Look at that. They are rediscovering things just like Colossus. Or Colossal, fuck. But look, guys, this is the gecko guy.
Show me that stupid thing.
Looks like a house gecko.
Yeah. Now, I want to look up...
Put him down. Just-
Can you look up the scientific name of this to see if there's anything like in relation to it?
What is it called?
Blyde rondavel flat gecko. Check that thing out. Yeah, Eric, what did you think about this?
About the gecko?
Yeah, while
I
he's
think
looking
it's
this
cool.
up. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know much, so.
yeah. Does it remind you of any specific animals and stuff like that?
Not that I can really think. Well,
Oh, there's a bunch of
besides-
species.
Oh, yeah?
Is it in a genus that we know, or is it by itself?
It's on Aphrodura.
Aphrodura.
So rock geckos and flat geckos.
Interesting.
Aphrodura. Do you know anything else in Aphrodura?
No, I was thinking it was in one of the, either Pachyodactylus or Chondrodactylus,
Gotcha. Can you open
because it looks like a house gecko almost.
Interesting. Well, new species drop, guys.
Well, welcome back to the world. Something rock gecko. We're happy for you to be here, and hopefully the pet trade stays away from you for.
Nah, dude, bring them in. Bring them. They come back, dude. They come back for sure. Stupid bitches. Okay.
All right.
You ready for the next one?
Yep.
The crocodiles. Have we talked about that?
We spoke about it very briefly, but if you've got the information on it, let's tackle it now.
So
What crocodiles? What happened to them?
they're both in a Yucatan. 2 new species of crocodile. They're both in a Yucatan. And I finally saw some photos somewhere of the visual differences, which are mostly some scoots on the side. One has them, one is missing them, and then the third has a certain pattern in that area. But now they're going to try and see how they're going to protect them, because now they're going to have to do surveys on the 2 species. But they're literally like visually the same as an American crocodile, but one like they're probably smaller because they're in like some islands, and I think the other one's in the mainland Yucatan.
Yeah.
So they're probably smaller, have different face structure, but like very hard to tell apart. So for us to not be able to find them has to be hard, unless it's the same idea of the Nile and the West African crocodile. Those 2 were the same species for a long time, although they look different as fuck. So I don't know. Hopefully it's something like that. I want something that looks different. I'm tired of the same fucking build. Everything copy paste, different. I'm good.
I'm getting a lot of crocodiles. When's the new caiman dropping? Is there
They drop
anything
all
like
the
that?
time.
Really?
Yeah. Brown caiman, Apoporus.
In our lifetime?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing that the Forest Galantis stole.
The yellow guy.
Oh. Is there anybody that has spoken about that situation in a podcast? Wasn't there one that happened recently, actually?
Animals at Home.
Animals at Home, that's
Animals
right.
at Home, and there may be another one coming up.
Well,
spoilers.
hell yeah. Well, I'll be looking forward to that. Finding the right substrate is a paramount part of reptile keeping. And if you're looking for the best cocoa option, we recommend Cocoa to Go. Cocoa can be used for reptiles, amphibians, and even plants, so they're perfect for any kind of setup. So we make sure to use Cocoa to Go. Let them know that the Reptiles With podcast sent you. So when we go to the reptile shows, there is mid-Florida displays. Okay? They make a bunch of different kinds of enclosures. They do the racks. But they recently posted, because it looks like they moved to Tennessee, they posted, quite a few of you know that the city of Trezevant, Tennessee wanted to take wanted to take my wife to court and end her home-based business of breeding snakes, all due to the fact that the people in charge are afraid of snakes and think that ball pythons can and will escape, thus making the city into the next Everglades. Some even fear that children can be eaten alive by ball pythons. We have been waiting to be served from the city, and it happened today. However, in a twist, they have also filed suit against Mid-Florida Displays and want my business to be shut down, as they believe I will only make enclosures for my wife and thus a key component to her business. So now they have 2 fronts to fight against ignorant people, and yeah, so they're getting attacked by the city to shut down both of their businesses.
Scary.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
What are you guys' feelings about
Well,
that?
I already know that Tennessee already has a terrible, terrible, terrible view on reptiles as a whole. Specifically with snakes, just from people I know who've lived in Tennessee and stuff like that.
I didn't know that.
It's bad.
Really?
Yeah. Really bad.
Yeah.
It's
But
our fault.
It's our fault?
that's another thing too.
Yeah.
You know, it does suck that they're going with it with the city and all that stuff, but you know, a lot of the problems maybe they're not causing problems like that, but like a lot of the stuff that makes the news, a lot of the stuff that people see of the reptile trade, it's not good.
Gotcha.
It's the reptile
You know.
trade's fault for allowing so much fuckery,
It's
and now
the stigma has created that problem.
So like, do I feel bad for the people? Yeah, but it's like expected. It's just expected at this
It's
point.
it's like an unfortunate. It's obviously super unfortunate, obviously super sad, but it's just like fuck, man. Like,
yeah, like I'm
this
not
is where
surprised
we're
that it's
at.
happening.
Yeah.
It's just more so like you just don't like seeing it happen because it's like fuck.
And nobody really cares about fixing the problems at hand.
Yeah.
That's
You
where
think
I
that
don't
that's
care.
like? Do you think that that's like an overreach by the government to do something like
No.
that?
No,
I don't know.
How not?
because invasive species are a true thing. Even though it's ball
But-
pythons,
Yeah.
like if they are to keep a turtle,
and it's releasing in
Yeah.
Tennessee. Boom, new invasive species.
Yeah.
It's a new issue. They literally want nothing. And like when it
I
comes to
wonder-
government, it is what most people want. And if most people don't want that, then you're fucked. You're outnumbered. And at that point, that's what America is. You vote on it, you lose.
I have a problem with the enclosure situation. That's where I feel like it
Yeah.
might feel like outreach, just because like, okay, you can
Yeah.
shut down the breeding stuff, but like
They're just
the
trying to take them
enclosure
down
stuff
quick.
too. They're pretty much trying to nip it in every possible
Yeah.
spot they can.
No, I think they're just trying to take them out quickly, easy. And do I feel bad? Yeah. Do I think it's an overreach? Kind of. But like, although they are breeding ball pythons, the pet trade as a whole, not ball python breeders, the pet trade as a whole has created this horrible view of what we are.
Or
And
not, I won't
don't
say
feel
created, just because even before the reptile trade became a thing, people have never had a good view on these animals to begin with. I just
I don't
think it
think it's about the view.
reinforces a bad view of the animal.
No, but I don't even think it's about the view, because like, oh, they're eating babies stuff, like whatever. Like you can fight that, but when it comes to like, we can have these animals invasive in Tennessee, whether true or not. Good luck proving it in court. First of all, good luck proving that in court. And because we have caused those things in so many places, now we make it look bad.
Yeah.
Because we sell reptiles to kids easy. When we sell reptiles that get too big and people release them, we sell reptiles to people that want to release them. And we have invasive species in Georgia. We have them in Florida. We have them in Texas. We have them on Guam, Puerto Rico, the islands. Like it's a mess that this industry has created. So now when the government fights back on us, is it an overreach? It is an overreach of us whenever we fuck up the environment using our selfish wants, not our needs, our wants. That is selfish. And when there is so much selfishness, like shit going on around, and they want to take them down, I don't feel bad because we created that view of us.
Because it's always the same argument too, like, oh, but they can establish here, but you're not. The problem at hand is the fact that they can get out, the possibility of them escaping and stuff. It's not necessarily that the environment can fight back against it, because at that point, you're knowingly putting that danger into the environment.
Yeah, and
Depending on how you see how dangerous it is, it's still happening, and that's the part.
I
where it's
wonder
like,
if
they are
that
kind of within
city.
their right.
I wonder if that city has laws that prevent that. Because, like, I mean, HOAs will have stuff, especially here in Florida, that say no reptiles, no this, no that. So they, they'll put a hard stop on that. And I wonder if there's like cities or like small towns that are like strong on those things.
They are. A lot of places in the Carolinas are like that. It was a big drama with somebody. I forget what happened, but something happened in their city that made it a thing. And I think even I think Jeff Leibowitz had something to do with something too. He got the animals banned in his town too.
Yeah.
Really?
Which that's a perfect example of like, this is why they don't let us do stuff, because people like that kind of fucking ruin it for the rest
And
of
it
them.
depends. Like you can call it an overreach, but is it really when it comes to like us and the effect we have caused? Like penistomes. I started finding anoles at my job with penistomes in them. Green anoles.
That's crazy.
They have them in their stomach, and when they die, it comes out of their stomach. Yeah, so it's like we brought that here. This industry brought it. So whenever the laws pass, I don't feel bad anymore, because it's like it's just, even with the rules we have, it's just a bunch of idiots doing whatever they want for nothing, for selfish reasons. Straight up.
I'm gonna give a little pushback on it, because there is nuance to it in the sense that like there were some bonehead decisions made, and not that there's no bonehead decisions being made today, but I do think that like to punish the community as it is today, like blanketly, is a little bit rough, because those were decisions made by the idiots of the past.
I disagree. Those things still happen within the industry, and we support it. Those are the top dogs most of the time, especially in Florida.
Okay, but
Operation
those are the
Viper.
Yeah,
great-
the old people.
No,
yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And there is no other solution than a blanket law towards everything. There is just no other solution. There isn't.
Yeah, I don't know, because I do think that there, I think that a big part of fighting back on it would be like educating the next generation that's coming up.
Educating
But-
for what? To put them in boxes? That is not
No,
education.
no.
You
I'm
can
not
educate-
talking about
no,
putting
you can
things in
educate-
boxes,
you
though.
can educate on native stuff. Who does that?
I do.
You do. No, but
hell yeah.
But not many people. The pet trade does not do that. The industry does not do that.
I would say most people probably don't do that. But to say that they don't do that in general is crazy.
But
Eric's
most,
at these shows.
But most of the people don't. The industry
Most is
as
not
an
all.
industry as an industry.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but if you're going to make laws, are you going to make it over the majority or minority? You're going to make it over the majority. The majority
Okay.
does not give a fuck. They're not educating on anything else other
not-
than how to keep shit.
I'm not
and breed
advocating
shit.
against making laws. I'm just saying that there should be some better advocating towards educating the next generation, but not about putting in boxes. I was never talking about
But-
putting in
but
boxes. I'm
even-
saying
even with
teaching
that,
them
but even with
how to
that.
how to better respect the wildlife.
Yeah, even with that, not many people are
Uh-huh.
doing that, and we have. We're educating people. Behind the scenes, there's invasive species. There's a whole bunch of diseases going
Okay.
around. People getting fucked
Yeah.
up. That makes news way more than the little bit of education that we do.
Well, I mean, you're not entirely incorrect on that, but that doesn't mean that it's an avenue that should be ignored. That doesn't mean
shouldn't.
that doesn't mean that laws is the only thing that should happen.
I think it is because, bro, like if you're a biologist and you have all of these issues coming from the pet trade, what would you want? You would want laws to stop this bullshit because it keeps getting worse everywhere. It's spreading. More places are getting the same fucking shit as Florida is. Because of a pet trade. Birds in the exotic pet trade, reptiles in the exotic pet trade, fish in the exotic pet trade, all of it. All of it is
Yeah.
causing so much. So what else? How else do you fix that issue? Or do you ignore that issue
No, you definitely
just
don't
because
ignore it.
you want to keep things as pets?
No, definitely not. Which is why I say like the answer should not be don't put laws, or rather the response should not be don't put laws because I want to keep an animal in a box. It should be what can we do to make this whole situation work for everybody. And the thing
What
is
it?
that
It doesn't exist.
it doesn't exist because it hasn't been found yet.
No, it doesn't. It will not exist. There's too many people involved.
So maybe there needs to be less people involved. Less people involved to figure out a solution, not to just blanket, just fuck this and that's that.
Who are you? How do you choose who's who?
I don't fucking know.
Nobody knows. So therefore, the
Yeah.
best case scenario, quickest way to
I
get
think-
rid of that is to ban. And I'm not saying I am for the ban.
No, I
I'm just
get it.
saying I don't feel bad because of the
Of
view
course.
we have
Yeah.
put out. I'm not saying it is a good thing. I'm saying I don't feel bad because this is what we've done.
No, I get it. Because I'm more arguing for like being devil's advocate. Because the thing is like I get it. I get that it's a difficult situation, but like for me, like I'm personally, I am a person that didn't grow up in this. I am a person that found this, and I've been through the phases of like I like turtles. I like conservation, and then it was like I'm gonna breed ball pythons for a living, and then I am here where I am now. But it's like this person that I am here today is through being able to be I am the product of the people that have educated me. And I think that I don't want to be like, if people followed my shoes, it would be better. But this is what I'm saying. Like, it's like if I was stopped at the forefront of like, these are the laws, this is what you can and you can't do, I feel like there's more people that are just gonna have pushback about like, I don't even want to be involved in any of this, and I'm not. Then I'm like, I don't give a fuck about the animals. I don't give a fuck about anything. There's too much regulation here. I don't want to be a part of any of this. And then maybe just nothing gets done at that point anymore.
But
Just
what
nothing
does-
happens.
But what does the pet trade do for any of it? What does the pet trade do for the environment, for the state? What does it really do?
I don't know what it does or what it. I can't give you an answer of what it does right now
And
or
I'm
what
saying-
it has done in the past.
And I mean the pet trade in general. I'm
Yeah,
not talking
yeah,
about
no, I know.
singular
I know,
people.
I know.
The pet trade in general,
Yeah.
what does it really do?
I can't give you an exact answer of what they have done, what they do right now, but I can give you an example of what I would like it to do in the future. I would like for it to be a little bit more realistic in having respect for the animals that we keep. I would like for it to educate kids to probably appreciate the animals that they have in their backyard.
I'd say appreciate the animal first before you want to take it home.
Yeah.
If we're talking about educating within the pet trade, I really do think that separating you having it from a pet, from it being a real animal, I think that's really important because what I've seen, especially with me growing up, I started out only seeing things in the pet scenario.
Yeah.
And then from there, you only have that one view. And then once you actually start realizing things are different, at that point, you've kind of already done the whole round.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I feel like with the educating and stuff, I wouldn't say that it's a very efficient way to solve the problem, but I think it's important from a base level standpoint because when the new people get into this stuff, the first thing they do is try to get educated. In a perfect world, people will try to learn about the things that they want to do.
Yeah. But not everybody has.
But it's like
I don't think it's real. I think the education part of it, when it comes to the pet trade, is not real.
I wouldn't say it's not real.
Other than morphs and how to keep them, it's not real.
and that's why we have to have that separation
Yeah,
from
but
the animal in the
I
bin
don't-
and the animal outside.
I don't think 100% because I mean, mind you, I can only give the examples of when Eric, Tyler, and I are physically there at the shows. But I do think that the general audience of younger people that see the animals at these shows, they are asking me different questions today than they did when I was just selling turtles in 2015. And then when I just started selling ball pythons a little bit after that, they're asking different questions. They're asking questions about. They're not asking the questions of how do I keep this animal in my enclosure. They're asking what exactly this animal is. Like they want to understand like the necessities of this animal.
Yeah,
they want to understand. Yeah, but that's
still nothing.
But it's
Because when it comes to keeping within a state, it is nothing because those animals are not here.
okay.
That's
but
nothing.
But what I'm saying is that the people are asking to learn. They're asking to learn how to understand these animals, to respect these animals. And if they can learn how to respect the animals, they're going to respect the animals around them. They're going to want to understand more about the animals around them.
I think what that does, honestly, is they're going to understand the animal, and then the animals around them, they're going to put them in cages anyways.
Dun dun.
That's what kids do. That's what people want to do.
Actually, it's funny that you say that because I was watching a cute video of it was like a family like they must live like on a creek or something like that, and they're just there, and you know it's kids. They're super excited about turtles, and they're catching like a video's like I caught a turtle with a net.
Yeah,
and it's like a little map turtle, and then they catch a
put 'em
soft
all in
shell,
a fucking-
and then they put it in a little pond, and it's just like it's that's not the idea. But it's nice that you
I like
like
the
the thing.
enthusiasm, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
then that's the part where it's just like, yo, like you need to the parents, because the kids were like 4 maybe, but the parents, they need to be educated so that way they can teach their kids a little bit better about like, you know what, like it's cool to like maybe you have that baby turtle for the summer or the winter, and then you put it back in the wild, or like you kind of because like map turtles lay so many eggs, like you are kind of respectful about the process that you're doing, and maybe you're educating your kids about like we're gonna only feed them the stuff that we catch in our creek, and then we're gonna put it in there, and then you're gonna learn about the animal, and there's definitely steps and there's levels to it, but I think that
I don't think it happens. I don't think it happens enough to make.
Oh, it definitely doesn't happen enough.
Yeah, I don't think it happens enough to like whenever a state's about to make laws to matter.
what I see is that it's a very in a perfect world scenario.
Yeah, I think that pet trade does not push for it enough to matter.
Got you. But then you have the opposite, and then you have FWC being ran by fucking the
Developers.
The,
Yeah, but that's a whole different argument from the pet trade. Like, the pet trade within itself has its harms. FWC within itself has its harms. But you cannot point over there and like, oh, well, they're ran by developers. They want to take us out. Like, no. You have your own issues that you cannot ignore. Don't point over there. They have their own issues.
Yeah.
But this issue is also big.
Yeah.
It's just as big as that one.
Yeah. But those are the two biggest issues.
Those are the two biggest issues everywhere around the world.
Not around the world,
Damn,
bro.
everybody-
They're not worried about this in Nicaragua.
No, dude. The main threats to wildlife, what are they?
The Eric,
what
Chuck,
No. It's development,
yeah,
destruction,
and poaching.
and
Yeah.
poaching. It just is. And the pet trade here wants to be like, no, we're so good, but we educate people. Fucking take that turtle. We're so good. I swear to God. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it just doesn't. It
Yeah, I get
doesn't
you.
make sense. It just.
It's the endless cycle.
Here we paint it to be all pretty and shit, so that people when they see it, oh my god, these people are so good. And then you go, what's the shipment from Africa? How much came in? Yeah, how many ball pythons we got in a box full of fucking ball pythons and water bottles?
Fucking $105 ball pythons that we're gonna sell online
God.
for
You see what
as
I mean?
captive bred.
You see what I mean? It's like it's fake. It's a fucking fake. It's a little paintbrush we put over it.
No, I get it.
It's
yeah.
a paintbrush we put over it. It's all fake.
Yeah, but that's why people need the Reptiles with podcast, because we're the only ones that are gonna talk about it.
Yeah, and they're gonna be mad because I broke their hearts.
And they're gonna be like, "Go Yoshi, you're saying the thing, right? Right?
Yeah,
right?
and I'm gonna be like, fuck!
And then all of Chuck's friends are gonna hate me. Like, who the fuck is this little
Literally,
fucking?
biologists fucking hate you, dude.
Really?
Oh
No,
my
I'm just
God.
Oh, okay. I was like,
I'm
no.
just kidding.
Biologists around the world. Hey,
Dude,
Yoshi.
I'm not gonna
Can
lie.
you
I'm not
imagine?
gonna lie. I'm in this group with what's his name? He asked about being on the podcast.
The Avengers.
Dean.
Yeah, from
DNA?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm working on it.
Okay, okay,
I have the idea. We'll talk about it.
Okay,
after.
okay. He's been asking and shit, and bro, every time I see him in a group, I just go off. I'm like, bro, I'm gonna be honest. Every time I'm in a whole bunch of like conservation groups, actual biologist groups, they fucking hate him.
Really?
They
God,
fucking
no.
hate him.
Aw.
It's sad, but it's like bro, like the little study he did. I'm like, this is the stupidest shit I ever seen. Honestly.
Jesus Christ.
Well, still come on. He listens. Still
No,
come
I
on the
know,
podcast.
I
Yeah.
know. And I'm only saying it. I'm only saying it because I talk to him like this,
Uh-huh.
and he talks to me just like he calls me a bitch and everything, and then we have a regular
Yeah.
conversation. So
yeah, he's a very cool. Like, he seems like a calm dude that's willing
Yeah.
to have the conversation.
and he's
which is
passionate.
interesting.
And
Yeah.
he's passionate, which is
Yeah.
important.
I like the little thing that he has going on with the organization that they're putting together.
Oh, yeah.
They're doing some work there. Is that? Yeah, I guess that's what's kind of going on. Anyways, what are you gonna say?
Are you about to end it?
What are you gonna say?
Are you gonna end it?
I'm trying to.
Are we gonna talk about?
Wait.
No. I'm gonna bleep that out. Can you send me the timestamp? Oh,
No.
No. Anyways, this was the Reptiles
God
with
damn
podcast.
it.